Hello everyone, Xiao here, and today I'm doing something a little fun. I am building a Windows XP computer. Now here on this table are some parts I have. Most have been picked up from either work for free, because e-waste, from things I already owned, and then also I have a local tech shop that has extra surplus hardware that I was able to get for really cheap. So to begin, I guess we'll talk about the case first. So this is an Antec case, as you can see here. It is from about 2006, 2007, so it's more of a Windows 7 computer case. And on the back side, there's actually a Windows 7 product key. But overall, it's still a fun little case to use. And it has this. So it has a 3.5-inch base as well as 5.25-inch base. As you can see, we already have an optical drive ready for this case, which I'm pretty happy about. And we have front USB as well as what looks to be an eSATA port. I have not fully checked though. Also, I do need to dust off this case before actually building this machine. But again, later parts. Next up, we have this Intel motherboard. It is currently still in the seal. I'll go ahead and get this out in a moment though. And then we have this ATI AGP card. This is a 9600 XT, and from what I can tell, it would be decent for an early XP computer. Additionally, we have 2 whole gigabytes of DDR RAM running at 400 megahertz, and I believe a CL of 3. We then have a 2 terabyte hard drive. So this is the one thing I already owned, and I didn't really want to buy a really old hard drive and have it fail on me. So I just am pulling this from my storage. XP 32-bit only supports up to 2 terabyte hard drives, so I'm hoping this works. Otherwise, I'll have to pull an SSD from somewhere. And then we have this. This cooler was luckily enough still at this hardware store. So this hardware store mostly holds things from 2010 and afterwards, from what I can tell. But it had this. This here is a cooler for an Intel Pentium 4 478 socket, which more importantly, I guess, we can then move to the CPU. This here is an Intel Pentium 4 for the 478 socket. This is a PGA chip, pin grid array chip, and it's pretty fun, nice. Over more, we have a power supply I picked up from this used hardware store, as well as a DVD drive that was originally in this case that I simply took out just for display reasons. Anyway, that's about it for this introduction. Let's get to building. So here is a closer look at the motherboard. We have our AGP slot, some PCI, some SATA connectors, some IDE connectors, some I/O, our CPU socket, DIMM slots, and some front panel spots. For I/O, we have serial, parallel, USB 2.0, VGA, some built-in audio, as well as PS2 mouse and keyboard support. And this is what we're going to start building in. So let's get to it. Alrighty, so to get started, we have our fun CPU here. I'm going to go ahead and get this opened up. Okay. There we go. And as we can see here, hopefully in a second, camera. Well, it's probably not very visible, but I'll go ahead and just read it out. It is a Intel Pentium 4, 3 gigahertz. It is an SL6WK. So this is one of the later Pentium 4s, but not the super late Pentium 4s that use a different socket. But overall, it's all the same business. We're going ahead and lift the retention arm here. And just like that, this opens up. And then we're going to line our gold triangle with the gold triangle on the motherboard. Okay, sorry about this, it's taking a while. There we go. And we're simply going to just drop her in, just like that. We're going to make sure it's in, and we're going to go ahead and tighten the retention arm, and just like that, our CPU is installed. Next up, we're going to go ahead and install the cooler. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. So this is a pretty basic cooler. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out now. So this is a pretty basic cooler, simple cooler. And we're gonna go ahead and get this off here. There we go. And now our cooler should be ready to install. So for installation of this cooler, we are going to grab these brackets here. And we're going to go ahead and get these set up. So we're going to go ahead and get this here. Oh. It might just be easier to do this. So this, the fan header on this board is over in the top right corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the cooler like this. And I'm just gonna set it gently on here, just like that. And then we're going to grab these and we're going to go ahead and install them. Sorry about this kind of a mess of a camera job. This is a little harder than I was expecting. So we're going to go do this. And then we're going to go ahead and crunch it down, lock it in there. Same with the other side. We are going to go ahead and hook it in here. And then just kind of give it enough force to hook in there. And that is the cooler installed. And then this fan header here is just going to go on the fan header spot on the motherboard, right next to the CPU. I would love if I could see. There we go. And just like that, our CPU cooler is installed. Next up is memory. So again, this is some Micron RAM. Oh, focus. It is DDR 400 megahertz. So we're gonna go ahead and open up all these slots. As Windows XP 32-bit supports up to 4 gigabytes of memory. So we're gonna go ahead and install all 4 of these sticks I have. Go. And once again, I am sorry for the kind of crappy camera work. Again, this is more or less just myself doing fun little projects, so sorry about all that. Here we go. And just 2 more to go, and that will get us our 2 whole gigabytes of DDR1, more or less, memory. Oh. There we go. There we go. And so that is pretty much our motherboard set for now. I'm going to go ahead and actually test the motherboard right now using the power supply, and we'll be right back. So for this next part, I am simply testing the computers, and so we're going to use our 20 pin, not the +4 part, and just going to plug that in straight to here. Okay. Next, I will be plugging in my 4-pin CPU connector right about here. There we go. And because this is an old computer, that is pretty much all that's needed. So next, I'm going to plug in our power supply. Check it out first. Go ahead and plug that in. And then, let it do its thing real quick. And it seems it is turned on, which is kind of shocking because I'm not going to lie. I was expecting to have to hit the power switch. But as we can hopefully, sorry about that, see right here, we have our Intel desktop board. Don't worry about the line thing going up, that's just how switches look on camera. And we are seeing that we are at our 2 gigabytes of system RAM, operating in single channel mode it seems, but most importantly, seems to be functional. So we're good there, which is nice. So we're gonna go ahead and get the case part of all this put together, and yeah. So I guess let's get to it. So now that we got the motherboard all set up, we're gonna take a look at this case. And to begin, I'm gonna actually stick the DVD drive that I originally took out of it. So this right here is a light on DVD CD rewritable drive, and it's just going to easily slide in right here. Now whether this functions, who knows, but I have spare drives if this one doesn't. Excuse me, computer, I would like you to go in. Come on. No, you're not all the way in. There we go. All right. And then the next thing I want to install actually is this. So this is a Sony floppy disk drive, and I'm hoping that it still works, hopefully. I'm going to install it on this front I/O here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And so just like that, we have this little thing with our floppy disk drive that just slides back in here. There we go. And locks back into place. Alrighty. Oh, I guess it's locked into place. Okay, cool. So this is pretty much our case. Once again, it is an Antec case from about 2007. And it should do perfectly for this use case. Okay, so next I'll be installing this I/O shield, of which this is the top of the motherboard here. So put this over here, and this case already had an I/O shield in. Let's pop that one out, put our better one in. Get out of the way. Putting this fan cable that's in the way. There we go. There we go. And even though it's kind of hard to see, we got the I/O shield in, and we're just going to kind of actually put all this together, and we should be good. Alrighty, so this is pretty much the PC built. I know I had to skip ahead a little bit. I had some issues with the screws, and by the time the screws came in, I just kind of gave up on recording parts of it and just got it in there. So this is pretty much the build. There's slight changes to the plans, being this 500 gigabyte laptop hard drive instead of the big hard drive I originally had. Additionally, I added in this secondary PCI card that is a composite capture card of some sort. Other than that, is pretty much exactly how I planned it. And if you see here, we are running Windows XP up there. However, I do not have a VGA capture device, and my CRT really hates my phone camera, so we're not going to record that. But pretty much, this is the build. Once I do get a way to capture VGA output, I plan to make a video performance maybe, we'll see. There's nothing really spectacular about this machine. It plays the Windows XP game perfectly fine, so I'll probably just kind of leave it at this. But thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Please give any feedback at all. I appreciate every single word, whether it is things I need to work on in the videos. Doesn't really matter to me. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever. But genuine feedback makes a big difference to me. So if you have any, please leave it down below. And that's pretty much it for today. Have a nice one.